The airline industry was hit with another blow, with the European Union issuing a travel ban on American travelers. What's up, everybody? I am Jaspreet Singh from theMinorityMindset.com and welcome to The Minority Mindset. If you live in the United States, you are now banned from traveling to countries in Europe and Canada because of the growth of this pandemic in the United States. Canada had a deal with the United States that said that both countries would not allow non-essential travel to each other's country until June of 2020. And then Canada started seeing the rise of cases back in the United States, and Canada said, okay, we'll keep our borders closed a little bit longer. And then the European Union came out and said that they're going to allow travel from different countries into Europe, but they made a point to say that they will not allow travelers coming from the United States because of the risk that they pose. Europeans have just been jealous of the Americans since the revolution. Well, yeah, but Europe banning American travelers is a huge blow to American airline companies. Airline companies have been hurting a lot, and they have been looking forward to starting this international travel with Europe again because international travel is so much more profitable than domestic travel. And one of the most profitable international travel is travel between America and Europe, which doesn't look like it'll be starting anytime soon. Airline companies have been bleeding money. Like American Airlines was losing something like $3 million an hour, 24 hours a day. That's $70 million going down the toilet each and every day. Airlines did get a multi-billion-dollar bailout from the United States government thanks to the help of your tax dollars, but these bailouts can't save airlines forever. Eventually, airlines are gonna need to make money again. And that's not gonna happen until people feel safe to travel again. And that's not gonna happen until this virus goes away, and that might not happen until we have a vaccine, or at least until things calm down. Airline companies and investors have been waiting for July 1st to come because that was the date where airlines would be able to start flying to Europe again. But now with the EU saying that they're gonna open travel from 14 countries around the world, but they're going to ban travel from the United States, investors, airline companies, and the American government are not happy. The EU even said that they'd be willing to open travel between Europe and China as long as China does the same thing, but they're not allowing visitors from the United States. This is kind of a big deal because the United States is known as the world's economic leader and the world's military leader, and to be banned from another first world developed country or countries because of the way we handled this pandemic is kind of like a punch to the gut, not just to the reputation, but also to our economy. For airline companies to make money, they need to sell about 70% of their seats in one flight to actually break even. After that 70% mark, that's their profit. Well, Delta is capping their capacity at 60%, and Southwest is capping their capacity at 67%, and American Airlines capped their capacity at 85%, but they said that during the first week of July, they're gonna up that capacity to 100%. That means the airlines that are trying to enforce social distancing on their planes are pretty much guaranteeing and committing to lose money on every flight they operate. That's why airlines like Delta are really hoping that this European travel would start over again, because this is their profitable travel, and then they'd be able to take some of this money and help it to sustain their business. That might have something to do with why almost immediately after this United States travel ban was announced, Delta came out and said that they're gonna have to downsize. Delta said that they could be furloughing thousands of pilots and flight attendants because according to the CEO, it will take years for travel to come back to normal. Before I get into what this means for you as an investor and how you can look for opportunities in the situation, if you are looking for an easy way to stay up to date on the top finance and business news like this, well, that's why we created the free Minority Mindset newsletter, where our team first breaks down the top finance and business news, and then we show you how this news affects your wallet. That way you can be smart with your money. This newsletter is completely free, and you can join our free finance and business newsletter by clicking the link up here or by clicking the link in the description below. By the way, our financial news emails are separate from our financial education emails. With every crisis comes opportunity, right? And no matter how many people say that things will never return to normal, eventually people will feel good traveling again and they're gonna want to travel again. I don't know exactly when it will be. It might take a few years, but it will happen. This can create opportunity for you because if you believe that the airline industry will recover and you have the patience to invest your money for the long term, that means you can come in and invest in airline companies at a huge discount. But it's not as simple as just taking your cash and throwing it into the airline stock that gives you the best peanuts. I mean, it's very likely that we will see major airline companies go bankrupt because of this pandemic. That's why Warren Buffett sold all of his airline shares. So if you just blindly throw your money into airline stocks because you want to buy some cheap stocks, you might walk away with nothing if that company goes bankrupt. That's why you need to know what to look for before you invest, especially if you're investing in high-risk industries like airlines. Now, before I go any further, let me just remind you, investing has risks. You are never guaranteed to make money when you invest. You might even lose money when you invest. So always do your own due diligence and don't just blindly listen to a random guy on YouTube. There are two very accessible ways you can go about investing in airlines. The first and most obvious is you going out and buying shares of individual airline companies. So this is you going out and buying shares of Delta or United or American. If you decide to go this route, make sure you keep an eye on your company's financials. Look at how much cash they have, look at how much debt they have, and look at what assets they have that they can sell just in case things go really bad. Then look at how their financials affect their operations. American Airlines, for example, over the last few years didn't have any extra free cash flow because they had spent all of their extra cash buying up shares of their own stock because they figured, what's the point of having savings when we could have a higher stock price? So they used all their extra cash to inflate their stock price. Well, that plan obviously failed when this pandemic hit, and that might be one of the reasons why they're pushing so hard to get rid of these social distancing measures on their planes because they need that extra revenue. And you have to look at what's going to happen after the airline bailout money goes away. When the government bailed out the airline industry, they said, okay, we will give you billions of taxpayer dollars, but you have to promise us that you are not going to lay off anybody until October, and you cannot use this money for dividends, and you cannot use this money to buy back your own stock. So United Airlines happily took their share of this billions of dollars, and then not too long after that, they came out and said that they would be firing or laying off 30% of their entire 17,000 person management staff. 30% of 17,000 employees is 5,100 layoffs. They're not allowed to lay anybody off until October, but there was no restrictions on them announcing layoffs, so they put this announcement out there kind of like a warning to their employees that, okay, you might not have a job for long, so you might want to start looking for new employment. Anybody hiring? And what they were probably hoping for by making this big statement that they're going to be firing so many people is that people in the management staff would just walk away and voluntarily leave. That way they can save money on their payroll costs right now because they're not allowed to lay people off, but people are allowed to leave if they want to. So if people leave, then they have less money they have to pay out, and then they don't actually do anything bad because they didn't lay anybody off. If you do decide to go the route of investing into individual airline companies, understand that this comes with a lot of risk because of how risky the airline industry is right now, and there is a chance that your investment will go to zero, so do not invest more than you're willing to lose. Like I said before, this financial pain that airlines are feeling isn't just gonna go away tomorrow. Airlines are going to be suffering because of this pandemic for years into the future, even if things went back to normal tomorrow, because they had a lot of financial loss that they had to recover from. And there's a very good chance that major airline companies in America will file for bankruptcy. If that happens and you're left holding a bankrupt stock, you will be left with essentially a worthless investment. The second way you can invest in airlines is by using an airline ETF or funds like JETS, J-E-T-S. Again, I'm not telling you what to buy, just giving you an example. JETS is an ETF or a group of stocks that gives you exposure not to just one airline company, but to the entire airline industry, because this ETF invests into a whole bunch of different airline companies. Now, if one airline company goes bankrupt, it will hurt your fund, obviously, but your investment won't become worthless because there will be dozens of other airline companies in this fund that will help balance out this loss. In other words, you have less risk. On the flip side, less risk comes with less potential return, because what might happen is you might see some airlines in this fund go up massively, but they'll be balanced out by some of the losers. But in general, it gives you safer exposure to the whole airline industry. Now, before I let you go, I do want to tell you that our team has put together a full comprehensive guide on stock market investing. It It walks you through what stock market investing is, what are stocks, and how to find a good stock brokerage and different stock market investing strategies from passive investing to active investing. You can read this article on our website. So if you want to read this guide, you can do that by clicking this link up here or by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, share it with one friend. That way we can help spread the word. If you want to learn more about how you can grow a small stock market portfolio into something much larger, I already made a video on it, and you can watch this video on YouTube by clicking this button right over here. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.